What a stressful night. So I was minding my own business, yeah, in some restaurant called West Wings in the El Poblado area. And the food was really good. Everyone in there were very, very friendly. But then one guy was a bit too friendly. So he's come and sat next to me after I've eaten my dinner. And then he's saying, oh yeah, where are you from? All this sort, talking about football, you know. And I just thought, oh, he's just a friendly guy. But he was dressed a bit too nice. And I don't mean he was gay. So he ended up saying, oh yeah. Bloody hell, fit there. Ooh, well fit. Anyway, he said, oh yeah, Medellin is a 24-hour party. I was like, oh, all right, is it? And then he said, if you need anything, hook me up. I said, all right, yeah, whatever. He said, go on, what's your number then? And he said, you don't need my phone number. And then he shook my hand, and then he hugged me as I was leaving because I paid the bill. And then as he hugged me, he put something in my pocket, and I was like, what the fuck is that? I pulled it out. It's a big, massive bag of cocaine. Probably looked about 3 grams. And then he said, okay, this is the process. I said, well, no, I didn't ask for any drugs, mate. I said, you was going on about a party. I was like, go on then, what's your number? And I probably wouldn't have ever texted him anyway, because I've already got a guy. And then, so he's put that in my pocket. And then he said, all right, here's the process. Now you give me 700,000 Colombian pesos. I said, I don't have it to fucking give it you. And he said, I never bloody asked for that anyway. I said, all I said is your number just to be friendly, which I shouldn't have. That's a mistake. And then he's like, and then I said, yeah, take it back. He said, no, I don't take it back. We're in front of a restaurant. He said, everyone will see. I said, well, you shouldn't have put it in my pocket then. I said, take it back now. And he said, no. I said, take it fucking back now or I'll go mental. You're not pressuring me into buying fuck all. And he's like, you give me 700,000. I said, I'm not giving you 700,000. You can have your cocaine back. And then he's like, no, this is not how it works. And then he went on the phone, and then he got someone who speaks perfect English on the phone, and then he put someone on the phone to me and said, you tell your mate I'm not fucking giving him fuck all except his fucking drugs back. I said, I'm not buying any drugs off him. I said, I didn't agree to it. I didn't ask for it. I said, he's having the drugs back. And then his mate on the phone said, no, you don't understand the process. He said, he's my employee. I said, I don't give a fuck if he's your employee. He's a little bitch. And I'm going to kick the fuck out of him if he doesn't take his fucking drugs back. Because I never fucking asked for it. And there's no way I'm giving him 700,000 for what looks about 3 grams. You fucking dick. And then he's like, oh, we are the boys of Medellin, man. He said, you don't fuck with us. I said, come here now. I said, I don't... Hi, mate. I said, I don't give a fuck if you fucking boys of Medellin. I said, bring your fucking boys here now. I said, you're not pressuring me into nothing, and he's not either. I said to him, one last time, and I got in the guy's face, take your fucking shit back, or I'm going to fucking hit you, and I'll batter all your boys as well, and I don't care if you kill me. And he said, loco. I said, yeah, loco, I'll fucking show you local.